How to move on when you're all alone. Introduction. There is a moment in life when you look around and realize that you are walking alone in a dark hallway. There is no audience. There are no witnesses. Just you and the echo of your own footsteps. You keep fighting. You keep getting up every day. You keep honoring that silent promise you made to yourself. But the world outside? He remains in absolute silence. No one says, "You're doing well." No one sees the wars you wage alone in your room at 3 a.m. And then comes that question that cuts deep. Is it worth continuing if no one is watching? But it is precisely in this emptiness, in this suffocating loneliness, that something extraordinary begins to happen. A different strength is born within you, a strength that needs no applause or external approval. Today you will discover the 8 steps to get back on your feet when no one is by your side. And the most surprising? You will understand that everything you have always sought in others has always been within you, waiting to be awakened. 1. When no one sees you. The feeling of invisibility is one of the quietest pains that exist. You can be in a crowded room and still feel completely transparent. It's as if your achievements don't matter, as if your efforts are just grains of sand lost in the desert. You work hard, you overcome obstacles, you face your fears, but there's no one there to witness it, and it hurts in a way that few can understand. What happens is that we grow up believing that our victories are only real when someone recognizes them. We have been taught to seek external validation since we were children. A compliment from the teacher, a hug from the parents, a like on social networks. Our brain has been programmed to associate personal value with recognition from others. So when that recognition doesn't come, we feel like we're failing, even though we're doing our best. But there is something that needs to be said very clearly. Your journey does not lose value for lack of witnesses. The sun rises every morning, even if no one is awake to see it. The mountains remain majestic, even without photographers around. Their struggle has its own meaning, regardless of who is watching. This is a difficult truth to accept, but liberating when we finally understand it. The question is not whether anyone is watching. The question is whether you are present in your own life. How many times have you accomplished something important and not even stopped to celebrate because you were busy waiting for others to celebrate for you? How many battles have you won and simply moved on to the next one without acknowledging your own courage? The first person who needs to see you is yourself. There is a brutal difference between being alone and feeling invisible. Loneliness is the absence of company. Invisibility is the absence of recognition. And the second hurts more because it messes with our basic need to import, to make a difference, to be remembered. But here's the secret. You don't have to be seen by crowds to live a purposeful life. It needs to be seen by you. Start documenting your small wins. Not to post anywhere, but for yourself. Write it down on your cell phone, in a notebook, wherever you prefer. Every day you didn't give up counts. Every moment you chose to move forward, even in fear, is a real victory. When you become your own witness, something changes. The need for external approval decreases, and for the first time, you realize that it has always been enough. 2. The secret power of silence. The silence is frightening. We live in an age of constant noise, endless notifications, voices competing for our attention. So when we're finally left alone with our thoughts with no one to talk to, no distractions to save us, the silence feels deafening. But it is precisely in this uncomfortable silence that one of the most transformative forces you can discover lives. In silence, you can finally hear your own voice. Not the voice that repeats other people's opinions, not the echoes of the expectations that have been placed on you, but that small and true voice that lives deep inside. She was always there, trying to speak, but she was drowned out by the noise of the world. Now that there is no one else speaking, she can finally be heard. It is in silence that you discover what really matters to you. Away from the influence of others, away from social pressures, you begin to realize which dreams are genuinely yours and which were planted by others. Find out which fears are real and which are just projections. You understand which values truly guide your life and which ones you just pretended to believe in order to fit in. Many people run away from silence because they are afraid of what they will find inside. fear of unanswered questions, fear of unhealed wounds, fear of facing uncomfortable truths about yourself. So they fill every free minute with music, series, social networks, anything that keeps the mind busy. But this escape comes at a high price. You never really know yourself. Silence is not empty. It's space. Space to think, to feel, to process everything that happened. When you're always surrounded by voices and opinions, your mind becomes saturated. There is no place for new ideas, for personal insights, for that clarity that only comes when we stop absorbing and start digesting. Learn to sit with silence. At first, it will be strange, even distressing. Your mind will want to jump to any distraction available. Resist. Take a deep breath and stay there. Let the thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. It doesn't need to solve everything. It doesn't need to have immediate answers. Just watch. Over time, silence ceases to be an enemy and becomes a powerful ally. It shows you who you are when no one is watching. And that's the most important person you'll ever meet. When everyone leaves, it's not rejection, it's redirection. Life is asking you to walk with yourself, to grow in silence. In the Jung method, you'll learn how to turn that silence into clarity and that loneliness into strength. Your journey begins in the pinned link. 3. Building your inner fortress. When there's no one to protect you, you need to become your own shield. This does not mean closing yourself off from the world or building insurmountable walls around your heart. It means developing a foundation so solid within you that the storms outside can't bring you down. It's about creating deep roots, not high walls. Your inner fortitude starts with what you feed into your mind every day. Negative thoughts are like termites. They seem small and harmless, but over time they destroy the entire structure. If you spend all day criticizing yourself, comparing yourself to others, reminiscing about past failures, you're sabotaging your very foundation. You need to learn to watch what goes into your head with the same attention that you would watch the door of your house. Set firm boundaries, especially with yourself. This means not allowing yourself to sink into spirals of self-pity. Yes, life is hard. Yes, you are alone. But dwelling on it doesn't change anything. It just drains your energy. Allow yourself to feel the pain, but don't make it your identity. Cry when you need to. Vent on paper. Feel everything you need to feel. Then get up and continue. Strengthen your body. It sounds simple, but it's revolutionary. When you're emotionally shaken, the body is the anchor that keeps you grounded. A 20-minute walk can completely change your mental state. Exercise releases chemicals that fight sadness and anxiety in a natural way. You don't have to become an athlete, you just need to move your body regularly. It is an act of respect for oneself. Feed your mind with good things. Books that inspire you, songs that elevate you, content that adds value to your life. Your brain is like a garden. What you plant is what will grow. If you only consume negative news and complaints, you will reap pessimism. If you plant knowledge and hope, you will reap strength. Develop personal rituals that anchor you. It can be a cup of coffee in the morning taken with mindfulness, 5 minutes of stretching before bed, writing down 3 things you're grateful for every day. These small rituals create structure in a world that seems chaotic. They remind you that you have control over something, even when everything seems out of control. Your fortress is not built in a day. It is raised brick by brick, decision by decision, moment by moment. Each time you choose not to give up, you add one more brick. Every time it treats with kindness instead of cruelty, it strengthens the walls. Over time you realize that you have become unshakable, not because nothing can hit you, but because you have learned to get back on your feet every time you fall. 4. Friendship with yourself. The longest relationship you will have in your life is with yourself. You wake up with you, sleep with you, face every challenge by your side. But here's the question few stop to ask. Are you a good friend of yourself? Or is it that kind of toxic company that only criticizes, that never recognizes the effort, that always charges more and more without ever celebrating anything? Pay attention to how you talk to yourself. If a friend came to you telling you about their problems and you responded the way you talk to yourself, how many friends would you have? Probably none. The cruelty we direct inward is frightening. We say terrible things to ourselves that we would never say to someone else. And this needs to change. Start treating yourself like you would treat someone you really care about. When you make a mistake, instead of destroying yourself with violent criticism, ask, what would I say to a friend in this situation? I would probably say something kind, encouraging, understanding. Do it for you. Recognize that you're trying, that you're doing the best you can with the tools you have right now. Learn to enjoy your own company. It doesn't happen overnight, especially if you've spent years running away from yourself. Start small. Take yourself out to dinner alone without being on your phone all the time. Watch a movie you really want to see, not what you think you should like. Do things that give you pleasure without needing anyone's approval. Find out who you really are. What are your favorite songs when you're not trying to impress anyone? Which food brings you genuine comfort? What kind of morning makes you happy? You may have been living for years following a script written by other people, doing things that don't represent you. Now is the time to rewrite that script. Forgive your past versions. That person who made bad decisions, who hurt people, who wasted opportunities, was doing the best he could at that moment. Carrying anger and resentment of oneself is like drinking poison and waiting for someone else to die. It only hurts you. Recognize mistakes, learn from them, and move on wiser. Celebrate your small victories. Did you get out of bed on a difficult day? This deserves recognition. Did you have a decent meal? Incredible. Did you choose not to give up? You are stronger than you think. Stop minimizing your achievements just because they seem small. Every step counts, every effort matters. When you finally make peace with yourself, when you become your own best friend, something magical happens. Solitude ceases to be a prison and becomes freedom. You realize that you will never be truly alone because you will always have you. And that, believe me, is enough. 5. Routine that saves. When everything around you seems to fall apart, when you don't have anyone to structure your days, routine becomes your lifeline. We're not talking about a plastered, lifeless schedule, but daily anchors that keep you on course when chaos threatens to engulf you. It's the difference between floating adrift in the ocean and having a compass pointing you where to go. Waking up and going to sleep at similar times every day regulates your body in ways you can't even imagine. Your brain loves predictable patterns. When you sleep at one time today, another tomorrow, and wake up at random times, your nervous system is constantly on alert, never knowing what to expect. This generates anxiety and chronic tiredness. Setting fixed schedules is a gift you give to yourself. Start the day with something that puts you in control. It can be making the bed as soon as you get up. It sounds silly, but you've already achieved something before you even brush your teeth. You have already made a decision. You have already completed a task. This programs your brain into doer mode, not victim mode. And this difference in mindset affects the rest of your day. Have non-negotiable moments to take care of yourself. A decent bath is not a luxury, it is a necessity. A meal prepared with minimal care reminds you that you deserve to be nourished. When you are alone and sad, the temptation is to slouch, eat anything, not get ready. After all, who will see? But you'll see. And the message you send to yourself when you neglect yourself is devastating. Divide your day into blocks with different purposes. One block for work or studies, another for physical movement, another for something creative or pleasurable, another for real rest. When the days turn into a shapeless mass where you just exist without direction, depression sets in easily. Structure is not prison, it is freedom. It frees you from the burden of constantly deciding what to do next. Include in your routine something that connects you with the outside world, even if minimally. It can be a walk around the neighborhood, buying bread at the bakery, watering the plants on the balcony. Small interactions matter. Seeing other people living, even without talking directly, reminds you that you are part of something bigger. It breaks that bubble of total isolation that distorts your perception of reality. Have a ritual to close the day. It can be writing 3 sentences about how the day went, preparing the next day's clothes, making a small to-do list for tomorrow. This creates a separation between today and tomorrow, preventing the days from mixing in an indefinite haze. It allows you to end cycles, even the daily cycles, and it brings a sense of much-needed completeness. Routine doesn't solve all problems, but it does create a firm ground under your feet. And when you have a place to step, you can look up and start planning where you want to go. Without it, you're left sinking into the quicksand of disorganization and emotional chaos. With it, every day becomes an opportunity for reconstruction. 6. Small steps, big walk. The biggest mistake you can make when you're at rock bottom is trying to take a giant leap to get out of there. It seems logical. The greater the effort, the faster the solution. But the truth is quite the opposite. Real and lasting changes happen through tiny steps, so small that they even seem ridiculous. But it is these steps that build mountains. Your brain is terrified of sudden changes. When you decide to turn your life upside down overnight, promising to wake up early, work out, eat perfectly, work hard, and be productive, you're creating such stress that your nervous system panics. And do you know what happens then? You give up. Not for lack of will, but because he asked for too much at once. Start ridiculously small. Want to start reading more? Don't promise to read a book a week. Read 1 page a day. Does it seem little? That is exactly the point. A page is so easy that you have no excuse not to do it. And when you do it every day without exception, your identity starts to change. You become a person who reads, not someone who tries to read. Want to exercise? Don't commit to an hour of gym time every day. Put on your sneakers and take a walk around the block. 5 minutes, that's all. Tomorrow you do it again. The day after tomorrow too. In 2 weeks, this is already part of your life. Then you will naturally want to walk a little more, because you are already in the rhythm. But it all started with something so small that it would be impossible to fail. The secret is not in the size of the step. It is in the consistency. 1,000 small steps take you infinitely further than 10 huge steps followed by giving up. Most people want immediate giant results, so they try to make giant changes that they can't sustain. You will do it differently. You'll choose microscopic progress every day instead of occasional bursts of effort. Celebrate every tiny step. Did you wake up at the time you planned? Victory. Did you drink a glass of water before coffee? Conquest. Did you answer that email you were postponing? Incredible. These things seem insignificant, but each of them is proof that you have control over your life. Every little conscious choice rebuilds your self-confidence brick by brick. Don't compare your step 1 with someone else's step 1,000. On social media, you only see the final results, never the chaotic beginning. That person who seems to have everything sorted out also started somewhere. He also had terrible days. I also wanted to give up 1,000 times. The difference is that he did not give up. He kept taking small steps even when it seemed like he was getting nowhere. When you look back 6 months from now, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. Not because he made monumental leaps, but because he never stopped walking. Small daily steps turn into miles of real change. And the most beautiful? You realize that you have always had the ability to get there. All he needed to do was stop waiting for epic motivation and start acting with simple discipline. 7. Opening doors again. There comes a time in the lonely journey when you need to make a conscious choice. Remain closed or start opening small cracks for the world to enter again. This does not mean denying everything you have learned on your own or going back to depending on others for your happiness. It means recognizing that genuine human connections still have value, even after everything they've been through. The temptation is to protect yourself forever, build walls so high that no one can hurt you again. And it's understandable. Broken trust hurts deeply. Abandonment leaves invisible but real scars. However, living eternally isolated is not protection, it is prison. You deserve to experience healthy bonds, even if it means taking risks again. Start with low-risk interactions. You don't have to go out making deep friends right away. Greet the neighbor, strike up a conversation with the bakery attendant, comment on something genuine on a post by someone you admire. They are small bridges, but bridges nonetheless. Each one of them reminds you that you can connect whenever you want. Look for communities related to your interests. If you like to read, join a book club. If you like to run, join a running group. The beauty of these spaces is that there is already a common theme, so conversations flow naturally. You don't have to make an effort to be interesting or create connection out of thin air. Shared interest already does half the work. Be selective, but not closed. Not every person who crosses your path deserves full access to your life. This is wisdom, not coldness. Notice how people make you feel. Observe if there is reciprocity, if there is genuine respect, if there is room for you to be who you really are. Quality connections are worth infinitely more than the quantity of superficial acquaintances. Don't force anything. If a friendship doesn't flow naturally, that's okay. If someone doesn't reciprocate your interest, move on without a grudge. Not everyone needs to like you, and neither do you need to like everyone. What you seek is not to fill your life with just anyone, but to find those few with whom there is real attunement. Remember that you have changed. The person who has entered solitude is not the same as the one who is coming out of it. You have learned to be well on your own. You have developed inner strength. You have known depths of yourself that few reach. It made you more selective, more aware, more whole. The new connections you create will be based on this stronger, more authentic version of you. Opening doors does not mean being dependent again. It means allowing good experiences and good people to be part of your journey without giving up the emotional autonomy you have gained. You don't need anyone to be happy, but you can choose to share your happiness with those who truly value it. And this conscious choice makes all the difference. 8. Rebirth in solitude. There is a type of death that does not involve the physical body. It's the death of the old version of you, the one that believed it needed external validation to exist, that molded itself to please, that was afraid of being alone because it didn't know who it was when there was no one looking. That version is dead, and what is born in the place is something completely different. Rebirth in solitude does not happen at a specific moment of enlightenment. There is no magical morning when you wake up transformed. It's a gradual, almost imperceptible process, until one day you realize that you're no longer the same person, that the things that destroyed you before now barely affect you, that you have developed an inner peace that does not depend on external circumstances. You discover that loneliness wasn't the problem. The problem was her fear. When he finally stops running away and faces it head-on, he discovers that there were treasures hidden there. Deep self-knowledge, mental clarity, genuine strength that doesn't need an audience, real connection with yourself. These are riches that no one can take away from you because they were forged in silence and absence. Your new identity is not built on relationships, external achievements, or social recognition. It's built on something much more solid, the relationship you've developed with yourself. You have become your own base, your own safe haven. And this is not selfishness or isolation. It is emotional maturity at its highest level. Now you can be anywhere without getting lost. He can be with people without needing them to feel whole. He can be alone without feeling abandoned. This flexibility, this ability to move between solitude and coexistence with balance, is the mark of someone who really found himself. The wounds of the past have not magically disappeared, but you have changed the way you look at them. They are no longer monsters in the closet. They are scars that tell a story of survival. Each one of them taught you something. Every difficult moment has sculpted who you are today. And you gratefully realize that you wouldn't trade that version of yourself for the previous one, even if you could. The world can still be chaotic, unfair, unpredictable. People can still let you down. You will still face difficult days. The difference is that now you know, deeply, that you can handle anything, because it has already passed the most difficult test, being completely alone and not destroying yourself. If you manage to survive that, you can survive everything. This rebirth has no end. It is a new beginning that unfolds continuously. Each day you keep learning, growing, discovering new layers of yourself. The loneliness that seemed like a sentence became a gift. It taught you that you have always been complete, even when the world made you believe that you needed outer halves to be whole. And now that you know this, nothing and no one can take this truth away from you.